What if I told you I completed the 100 Movies I've Missed project? What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and welcome back to another video. Today, I'm here with the final update of the 100 Movies I've Missed project. Now, this thing I started at the beginning of the year. It was my New Year's resolution to watch 100 movies I had not seen for the first time, whether that's a classic, Best Picture winner, a movie that I'd seen parts of on TV but never seen fully, or just a movie that people say I should see, or honestly just any movie I hadn't seen. And I'm here today to tell you that I've finally completed it. Last update I did, I was 85 movies in, so I said I was going to watch 15 more and I'll be done with it. Technically, I've watched through 94 movies now. However, I realized this today. There were about 15 movies that I watched for the first time this year that I didn't put on the 100 movies list for whatever reason, but I still watched them for the first time. And there was a point in the year where I started subbing movies as well, because that's kind of the way that I wanted to do it. I didn't want to be tied down to a certain list of movies. I just wanted to watch whatever I felt like watching for the first time, and it all counts the same. It's 100 movies, 100 new movies for the first time. I'll go through the movies that I watched since the last update, and then I will update you on the movies that kind of subbed into the 100 movies list, because I was like, there's no way I haven't hit 100 yet, and I did. I'm at like probably 106, around there somewhere when it comes to new watches for the first time. So I've finished the 100 movie project. It doesn't have to be some set in stone thing like I had set in my mind. And if you do this challenge, let me know how it goes for you, if you do it next year, if you're doing it right now. I think that tying yourself down to a preset list could be the downfall of it, honestly. I know that Jack from Fanatic Films finished a long time ago, and he's just watching stuff left and right, and I felt so tied down. I wanted to kind of break free from that and just watch what I wanted to watch. Definitely hit the like button, comment down below your thoughts on some of these movies. What movies have you watched for the first time? And almost the new year, which is crazy. But the first movie that I watched in this update is going to be Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Now, this is a Thanksgiving movie, if you will. Stars Steve Martin and John Candy. I almost said John Belushi for some reason. This movie was fine to me. I know that it's probably the definitive Thanksgiving movie, and a lot of people adore this one. To me, it was fine. Like, I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. It's probably a 3 out of 5 for me. I don't know if I'll watch it every year, and I didn't love it like I wanted to, but it was still a solid movie. Like, I'm not crazy about movies where the plot is just things keep going wrong and then eventually everything's fine in the end. It's fine to me. Next, I watched Panic Room, and there are going to be a few David Fincher movies on here that I already talked about in my Fincher ranking, so I won't talk about them too long, because I have a full ranking there you guys can check out. I'll put the link up above. But Panic Room is a really underrated Fincher movie that's a very contained thriller, kind of a one-location thing, and the first half of this movie was absolutely riveting. The second half is still really good. However, it kind of dwindles as a certain character may or may not be on screen anymore, who kind of carried the movie. It's still such an original movie. You can tell Fincher's directing it when it comes to like the way the camera moves. It definitely had some Fight Club vibes with transition shots. Panic Room is really good, worth a watch for sure, and I feel like it's his most slept-on movie. I said that in my ranking. Panic Room is a slept-on movie. Next is going to be the movie that I have never gotten more heat for not liking, and that is A Christmas Story. I thought the movie was just awful. I didn't like it at all. My video has like 17 dislikes, so if you're watching this, feel free to go add to the dislike count. Let's see if we can hit 20 by the end of the year. That would be amazing. Anyway, though, yeah, people were calling me communists and stuff in the comments for not liking it. How do you not like Christmas? How do you not like Christmas? I'm just like, timestamp where I said I don't like Christmas. It's my favorite holiday. I love Christmas. One of my favorite days of the year. I don't like a movie that takes place on Christmas because I think that it's just very boring, unfunny, and kind of just terrible personally. Like, I did not really follow it, didn't really have a good plot line to me, and just was watching this kid's antics, and yeah, it's a Christmas Story. It just didn't work for me. Christmas Story is just not good in my opinion. Trust me, I know I'm in the minority on that one. Next is going to be David Fincher's The Game. Bottom tier Fincher movie, honestly, like a 3 out of 5. The ending is bonkers. If you watch this movie and you've seen it, let me know what you think of the ending. The entire movie is a puzzle. You're trying to figure out what the heck's going on and how all these people know about the game. And then it just ends so freaking weird. I can't describe it without spoiling it, but like, it's kind of comical actually how off the rails it gets at the end. Not one that I see myself revisiting compared to the next Fincher movie I'm going to talk about, which is The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, and I loved this movie. Gave it 5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. It's one of those rare movies where I'm watching where I get transported into the events of the movie and just forget about time. I don't check my phone, nothing. I'm locked in from start to finish, just so entranced by the story of Benjamin Button, seeing his life as he's aging in reverse technically. He's born as an old man and dies as a baby, and that right there, that premise is just so intriguing to me, and you get to see this relationship between Cate Blanchett and Brad Pitt's character in the movie, and that's really the heart and soul of the movie. I think this is one of Fincher's best movies. Next is Alien 3. The movie's a disaster. I gave it 1 star on Letterboxd, probably being too nice to it. Absolutely destroys the legacy of the first 2 films, and that's all I'm going to say on it. It's really bad. The next movie I watched is Deck the Halls, a 2006, I want to say, Christmas film with Matthew Broderick and Dan DeVito. Again, this movie doesn't have a lot to offer. It's super, like, cringe at times. Like, literally, I had to look away. I was like, oh, man, this is hard to watch. Never gonna watch this one again, but I know that it's nostalgic for some. To me, just missed the mark pretty much completely. The plot is about someone trying to get their house seen from space with Christmas lights. That should tell you all you need to know. The next movie I watched is Live Free or Die Hard, which was the only Die Hard movie I had not seen coming into this year, and it didn't really disappoint. I mean, it was better than I thought it would be. It's a PG-13 Die Hard movie, so you couldn't hear John McClane drop the F-bomb, and the violence was a little tamer, but it still was intriguing to see John McClane and his relationship with his daughter, his relationship with Justin Long's character, and him having to adapt to a new environment as he's really going against Timothy Oliphant's, what's his name, Thomas Gabriel, who's like a computer hacker. I like that the Die Hard movie kind of adapted to the times, and it showed that John McClane has aged and he has to, you know, have his old school ways, and I just liked that premise. I think that it's a solid watch. It's my fourth favorite Die Hard movie. I think that the first three are still better, but this one is by no means a bad movie. It's 3.5 out of 5. Solid movie. And the next movie I watched is Jingle All The Way. This is a Christmas classic for some, guilty pleasure for a lot of people, because the movie's not very good at all, actually. It's just Arnold Schwarzenegger trying to get a Turbo Man toy, and his antics ensue, and the end of this movie is absolutely insane. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to spoil it, I guess, but it's indescribable. Just watch it and see how you feel about it. Insanity. And for some weird reason, I was touched by the father-son relationship in the end, but like the movie as a whole is not good at all. So if you're keeping count, that puts me at 94 movies for the 100 Movies Project. I then reached a point where I realized there were 15 or so movies that I watched for the first time this year, like in May, June, July, where I just didn't put them on 100 movies for whatever reason. So I'm going to tell you guys 6 of those movies, and if you want to see all the movies I watched for the first time, you can go to Letterboxd, Film Stock, my name Chris will pop up. I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre back in October, didn't put it on the 100 movies list, no clue why, because I was putting other horror movies on it. I was just being weird during that time period, but Texas Chainsaw will be 95. That movie was good. Don't know if I'll watch it ever again. It's not as violent as you would think. You can see my full thoughts on Letterboxd, but it's still a really solid horror movie and a classic to many. Next, I watched Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. I did a video with Ewan from Ewan Reviews. We talked about it in depth on his channel. Definitely check that out. It's one of the few Tim Burton films I've seen because I haven't seen a lot of his work. Johnny Depp gives one of his best performances here. The music is great. I listen to it in the car from time to time. Very chilling in a way. I enjoyed the movie quite a bit. Gave it 3.5 out of 5. The next movie I watched is Borat because I was going to watch Borat 2 and then I watched Borat and said, I'm not watching Borat 2. Now, I know it's kind of a hot take, but I just didn't find it funny. I know. I know. It almost missed the mark for me when it comes to the comedy. Like, a few moments I did laugh, but it was almost, I don't know. Something about it missed, and I don't really know what it is. I can't really pinpoint it. It just didn't work for me like I wanted it to. I thought at first it was going to be hilarious, and then it just kind of kept doing the same gag for me. And I was like, fish out of water. Not too funny to me, sadly. The next movie I watched is Perks of Being a Wallflower, thanks to my good friend Trevor from Film Geeks. He recommended this to me back in May. And I didn't put it on the 100 movies list. Why did I not put any of these on the 100 movies list? No clue. I'm insane. It's a really great movie. Like, one of the best coming-of-age movies I've ever seen. It really tackles, like, high school life in such a realistic way. And, like, kind of anxiety and depression and trying to fit in. Like, that's something that everyone has to deal with at some point in their lives. And it's a very resonant message. It hit me in the heart. Hit me in the feels. Again, if you want my really in-depth thoughts, you go to Letterboxd. I haven't watched the movie in a while, but I did watch it for the first time this year. And I regret not putting it in an update earlier, but here we are. It's on the 100 movies list now. Next, I watched Shrek 2. Yeah. I need a hero. That's all I really need to say, but Shrek 2, greater than Shrek 1. I stand by that. And the last movie for the 100 movies update, not chronological order, but still in the 100 movies I missed update, is perhaps my sleeper pick of the year, the movie that I never thought I would fall in love with, the movie that I never thought I would watch the entire franchise of, Saw. The original Saw movie from 2004, directed by James Wan, written by Leigh Whannell and James Wan. My goodness, this movie floored me. I've only logged it once on Letterboxd. However, I have watched it 2 additional times with the PMI Pretty Much It commentary track. Hilarious dudes, and Eric over there is the man. He actually commented on my Saw ranking. One of the highlights of my YouTube career. I was literally like starstruck when that happened. Saw is a fantastic horror movie, probably my top 2 horror movies of all time. It is insane. The score is riveting. It has got so many twists and turns that you will not see coming. One of the best plot twists in movie history. I'm just going to say it right now. It's phenomenal. Even Carrie Elways does a great job as Dr. Gordon. I just love Jigsaw as a villain. The premise is so intriguing, and it's not as gory as you would think, at least that first one. If you watch the rest of the Saw movies, you'll know they get a little bonkers. But I ranked all the Saw movies with my girlfriend Cam. Link will be up above. So definitely feel free to check that out if you want to hear more of my in-depth thoughts on Saw. That first Saw movie is definitely a really great thriller as well as a horror movie, so I recommend checking it out if you haven't. Do you want to play a game? At the beginning of the year, I just started this as a fun New Year's resolution, and then it became a video series, and I've had so much fun going through this 100 movies project, even if there were some times where I would go a month or two without giving you guys an update because I would get caught up watching Ozark back in March, rewatching The Clone Wars, rewatching Mandalorian, all of these things, whether it was the job or school or all this stuff. I still managed to get the 100 Movies project done. There were a ton of movies that I originally wanted to watch for it that I had to substitute off, and I'm going to save for next year, because next year I think I want to do, instead of 100 movies, go through different directors' filmography. So whether that's Martin Scorsese, Steven Spielberg, there were a lot of those guys' movies on my list. I just didn't want to watch them out of place, almost, if that makes sense. Denis Villeneuve, I haven't seen 2049. I'll watch it before Dune. Stuff like that I would rather do and save it for that. And honestly, just watch the movies I want to watch and not feel bound to watching a movie, because there would be days where I'd sit down on my couch right there and I'd be like, okay, let me scroll through my notes and see what I want to watch. And that just didn't do it for me. I don't know. Like, I'd rather just look through Netflix or something and be like, I'm in the mood to watch this genre of movie, so let's find one that I haven't seen. Like, Collateral is one that I really want to watch soon, and that wasn't even on the 100 movies list, but I need to watch it. So there's a ton of movies like that I'll talk about next year. I'll think of a series or some way to keep the YouTube channel updated on what I'm watching for the first time when it comes to older movies. I know for a fact that Letterboxd is where you can find all my up-to-date, fresh thoughts on those movies. So definitely head over there, film stock, my name Chris will pop up, and you can see all my thoughts on those movies there. I made it, 100 movies done, and it feels pretty good. I feel like I got a weight lifted off my chest. I did it, folks. I actually exceeded it, because there were other movies like Dinner for Schmucks that I watched for the first time. I just didn't want to talk about it on this update. So yeah, if you guys did the 100 Movies project or are doing it right now, let me know what you think of it down below. I'm excited for this new year with content. There's a lot of new movies coming out. I'm going to try and review more movies for you guys. I'm going to watch through every single James Bond movie leading up to No Time to Die. I will do a series where I rank each Bond actor's movies, so that's going to be a blast. I'm really excited for the future, so definitely hit that subscribe button if you haven't. It would mean the world, and just thank you all for the support. It just means so much. I can't really emphasize that enough. You all are the best. Also, this is the coolest thing I've ever held, and I love it. And I'm just going to hold it for the rest of this video for no reason, but hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Great rest of your year. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.